all those years ago. I mean, when you were 19, I think you were at Summer League, and you tweeted something about, "I'm not leaving Milwaukee until I win a championship." That is...
I'm out now. Can I leave now?
I mean, that's your call.
I want to trade. who, no, who I got to talk to for the trade? John? Kid, I want the trade.
For you, just thinking of that 19-year-old kid, that's a statement. I don't even know if you understood it at that point.
I didn't understand it. No, I wouldn't make it. I wouldn't make that statement. But that's what I believe. And some, like how little kids are very honest. You act like a kid, like a 5-year-old kid. Am I gaining some pounds? And he's going to respond to, yeah, you're fat. Like, they're brutally honest. And that was me at that point. Like, I was so honest, after the Summer League, and we played 4 games, 5 games. Chris, what up, baby?
Oh my God. What up, champ?
We played 4 games, 5 games, and we lost all of them, and I was like, okay, I want to win a championship in Milwaukee, and I'm going to do whatever it takes in order for me to win it. And we did it. We did it, man. This guy right here, PJ! Hey, PJ! Open the door, please. PJ! PJ! Hey! Sorry, guys. Hey, bring your shoe. This guy today, he wore a 250,000 pair of shoe. He had real diamonds. I promise you. How much did it cost? Yeah, basically a house in your feet.
Tuck, can I get them?
Hey, let me get them now. Let me get them too.
You don't wear size, Tuck. Can I have them? Tuck, can I have them? Can I have them?
Hey, guys, thank you, guys. This was a amazing journey. The outcome was great, but even the outcome, if it wasn't great, thank you guys for doing your job. It was easy to deal with you guys. Chris, take it. Do your thing. You want me to leave the trophy here?
NBA executive anonymously told The Athletic he predicts Giannis might be headed to Miami in free agency if they lose this series to the Heat. Max, let's stay with this. What would be the best destination for Giannis if he decides to leave Milwaukee?
Go ahead, Max.
Max?
Oh, okay, coming to me. The answer is
Yep.
Miami. Miami is the best destination. And Stephen A., I actually want you to start here because what I'm going to say is, I think, going to anticipate a lot of what you're going to say. So I'd like you to lay it out because I don't want to anticipate your whole argument.
Let me say this. This is one of the rare moments. I actually don't like the fact that I'm disagreeing with you because I'm imagining South Beach, and that would be so special. Hold
Get
on.
it together.
I digress. Let me get focused again. Okay. I get what you're saying about Miami. But let me tell you something, Max Kellerman. Golden State would be, for me, to be ideal. And I'm partial to it because I believe anyone else is better off in Golden State because I believe Steph Curry and Klay Thompson are the greatest shooting backcourt ever known to man. That's how I feel about them. I have never seen a backcourt duo that can shoot as well as these brothers can shoot. They are the greatest marksmen in the history of basketball, and anybody that is on the court with them two is better because of it. That's the only reason I say that. It don't matter. That's how I feel about it.
That's why I wanted you to go first, because you're right about that, and that's the problem. If Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green and Steve Kerr get Giannis, it's going to be like when Durant was there. Now, he can't do everything Durant can do offensively, but he does some things that Durant doesn't do. So, and the point is, they will use him in such a way that the league will be it'll be non-competitive again. No one's going to beat that team. You're going to build a wall against Giannis? Steph and Klay on the perimeter? No, there's nothing you can do. Maybe just hope that, I guess, Draymond continues to not shoot from the outside and now you can't play 5 out because of Giannis. They'll figure out another way to use him. It's impossible. And therefore, winning a championship there will be discounted the way it was for KD. But if he goes to Miami, this changes if Miami wins the whole thing this year. Let's assume they don't. If he goes to Miami and on a Pat Riley franchise grinds with those dudes down there, even if he builds a dynasty, he will get more credit as a champion than a guy who just glommed on to something they've already built in Golden State. I know not this year because of all the injuries and the defection, but he will get more credit for actually building it to a championship in Miami than he will to adding to a dynasty in Golden State.
All right, let me get this breaking news in here real quick, guys. We know it was a tough night for Donovan Mitchell, obviously a heartbreaker. We all thought he should have taken the final shot. Not
this moment, but I can't say that definitively. We don't have proof. He might be the best player in the world. KD didn't have a supporting cast. LeBron.
Giannis last night was so unstoppable. And to see him just shred all the critics, all the cynicism, the vitriol that was being thrown in his direction where people anticipated that, he was going to miss his free throws. If he had just made shots from the field, then that would be one thing. But to do it by hitting 17 of 19 free throws when the guy, just struggles to hit free throws so flagrantly so, that's the kind of stuff that seals the deal and makes you say, hey.
Before I make my point.
I can't put anything above it.
Question. You got on me in the very first segment because when asked if he is the best player in the world, I said Giannis can't be just dismissed from the conversation. Push come to shove, I put him third, but the title is disputed. Now, are you turning around and doing the same thing here? Or are you saying, yes, this is the best performance in a closeout game? Is it just in the conversation? Or is it, where do you rank it?
I said to you that I can't put anything above Jordan's 45.
Okay, so it's not the
Kendrick
best.
Perkins, did I not say that? Did I not say that, KP?
The best. Okay, so it's not the best. I agree it's not the best. It is not the best. I feel the same way about this as I feel about Giannis's status in the league. I don't put it as number one, but it's in the conversation. Let me tell you the ones that are better. You identified a couple. Magic Johnson, as a rookie, he was 19 when he entered the league that year, jumped at center and gave you 42, 15, and 7 in the finals. I can't put this above that. I just can't do it. Especially context matters. Everyone got hurt. Like, the Bucks were not going to be in the finals if the Brooklyn Nets weren't hurt. They were getting smoked. They would have lost in 3 if the Nets were healthy. They wouldn't even gotten to a 4th game. They were losing by 20-something points a game, and they didn't even have Kyrie and Harden. It was just one or the other of them. Come on. So like, context matters. You bring up Jordan's game, I don't have to go up. I don't have to go over that again. Let me give you the one that's actually number one. Number one is Clyde Frazier, and I didn't see it, Stephen A. Maybe you did. I wasn't born yet. Clyde Frazier in the 69-70 season, his 1970 finals, went up, because as you always say, Stephen A., context matters. It wasn't that the team he was playing was lucky to get there or the Knicks were lucky to get there. He went up against a team with Wilt, Jerry West, and Elgin Baylor, who was supposed to beat the Knicks. That's 3 still, people could argue, top 10 or 15 greatest players who ever lived on the same team. Clyde Frazier in a closeout, game 7, not game 6, against that team, not a Suns team that was also lucky that both LA teams got hurt, gave you 36, 19, and 7. That is the greatest closeout performance of all time. Giannis is in that conversation with Jordan, Magic, and Clyde, but it's not number one.
Well, look, no disrespect to all the all-time greats, because we have seen a lot of great performances and a lot of guys rise to the occasion. But when you look at what Giannis did last night, and when you talk about closing out the job and finishing your food, as he would say, he did just that. He didn't leave any rice, any corn, any turkey legs or oxtails on the plate. He finished the mission. And when I said, look how he did it, it's how he did it in great fashion, being down 0-2, winning 4 straight to win the championship. But last night in particular, when the game started, it was one person on that floor that looked like they was ready from the moment, from the start to the finish, and that was Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek freak. He started with it on his mind, going, 4 for 6 from the field in the first quarter, attacking downhill, knocking down his free throws, something that he hasn't done really all playoff series long. He go up there and he shoot over 90% from the line. And then when you think about what he done offensively for just imposing his will, play after play after play, the cardio, the stamina, the will to want to have to do it. Because when you look at a game 6 like this, the pressure is on the Milwaukee Bucks to close it out. You look at a game 6, you know, it's a must-win situation, and he embraced that moment. And then when you talk about his defensive impact, 5 blocks, those were intimidating blocks. We kept saying, Stephen A., I saw you tweet out and say, don't throw Ayton the ball. He looked petrified, he looked terrified, or whatever the case may be. He did, because it was the presence of Giannis down there, embracing that center role. He walking, he's stepping into three-pointers, knocking them down. And here's the knock that we all have had on Giannis. When it matters the most in those crucial moments in the fourth quarter, can he deliver? And last night, he did just that. Whether it was from the free throw line or getting to the basket or making the block shots that was really needed at the time, he did that in every aspect. And this is why I say it was the greatest closeout performance in NBA history and finals.
Well, let's say something. Let's point out something, KP. I'm not going to let you get away with something here. I understand that Giannis could be intimidating. Giannis was a man on fire last night. Don't act like you don't know when certain cats, the moment itself is just too much for them. Now, we know good and damn well that Ayton bobbling the ball even when he was rebounding, looking like he had grease on his hands. I don't know what the hell it was. You know good and damn well that wasn't just about Giannis. That was about a closeout game in Milwaukee, and we had a young brother whose youth was exposed, and he was scared to death. That's number one.
Yeah, but
number two, I want to say this, though. When we look at Giannis, here's what I want everybody to appreciate. When we criticized Giannis in the past, it was because he didn't have the combination of a perimeter shot and free throw shooting ability. We've never accused him of being scared. No one has ever accused Giannis of being scared. We thought that he played bully ball. He pushed you downhill. He had momentum, and he knew how to finish at the basket. But if you kept him away from the basket like Kawhi Leonard did, it would be problem getting that proverbial monkey off your back. Not that it really rained on him the way that it does on other players, but the fact that he got it done. You're a champion now, and that pressure is shredded from your shoulders. Not just for him, but for a stud like Middleton, whose mid-range game is pure. For a guy like Jrue Holiday, who didn't have another good shooting night last night, but find different ways to beat you, along with Bobby Portis and P.J. Tucker. I'm so happy for him. James Harden, Dwight Howard, CP3, Russell Westbrook, all departed from Houston looking for a crown. Even though Dwight got his last year, P.J. Tucker got his now. I'm really, really happy for him. When you look at what they have together, and they're already a champion, pressure's no longer on them. That could make them even more lethal.
I don't see it. I think they'll be competitive. I agree with you about P.J. Tucker. P.J. Tucker and Brook Lopez are the right kind of fits on a team with Jrue Holiday and Middleton. Everything fits very nicely at a certain level. And Giannis is a monster, but at a certain level. Even I can't get over the memory of a Nets team without James Harden. Of all of the players on the Nets, the guy who to me made them like impossible. I know you say KD. I said Harden played the best basketball of his career last year. I thought game for game was the best player in the league in both conferences. Without Harden, they were beating the brakes off the Bucks. An average margin of like 20, 25 points. Without Harden? And then when the Bucks finally won a game, it was by a slim margin in a great defensive effort from the Nets. Again, no James Harden. And then no Harden or Kyrie. And Harden comes back. He's not himself, obviously. It gets to a game 7. If KD's foot's not on the line, if KD hits an open shot, they lose right there. Again, no Harden, no Kyrie. No real Harden, no Kyrie. If the Nets are healthy, the Bucks don't even have a chance next year. They don't have a chance. It's a blow. Like, the Nets are so much better than the Bucks if they're healthy. I'm taking into account what you're saying about, hey, Kyrie's sometimes not there. Harden was whatever. But then even if they got past the Nets, Stephen A., they got to get past the Lakers, AD and LeBron. You can't just rely on injury every year.
Max Kellerman.
It's about a
The question wasn't about next year. The question was, will Giannis win more titles in Milwaukee? He's 26. We don't know how long James Harden and Kyrie and KD gonna last in Brooklyn. LeBron's got about 2 years left in LA. The question was, will you win more titles in Milwaukee? It wasn't will you win next year. So I'm looking at Giannis at age 26. Do you believe, Max, that this is his last title of his career?
It's a good point. I would say that it is possible if he stays in Milwaukee his entire career that we are not done seeing him win championships in Milwaukee. How would I peg the odds? I don't even know if I'd make it 50-50, but it's a good point.
I think I could see Giannis winning 3 titles in his career, Max. I could see him winning 3.
The problem is it's difficult for Milwaukee to attract top-flight players, and they don't seem – the ownership doesn't seem willing to –
As presently constructed, where's Drew Holiday or Middleton going in terms of their game? See, when we look at somebody like Russell Westbrook, his athleticism is off the charts. He's just almost superhuman, for crying out loud. But you do know that there's a window on that, because how much longer is that going to last because of his athleticism? The same way we once looked at Derrick Rose. Giannis ain't going to get below 6'11". Middleton's mid-range game is his mid-range game. Drew Holiday's ability to play defense could be there for years to come.
I would have given KD more credit for this Brooklyn win, even though they still have the most talent, because throwing guys together is harder than – it's harder to win that first year, as we saw in Miami, than it is – like what KD did was different, guys. The Boston Celtics, with the team that you were on, Perk, Garnett was an MVP-level player. But Pierce and Ray Allen weren't. Let's just be honest. They were all-star level players. And
Hall of Famers. They Hall of Famers.
Yeah, but there's a difference. But you could say, who's better, this guy or that guy? The MVP level is better than the all-star level. Pierce and Ray Allen are Hall of Famers. There are higher levels of player. Like, for example, Kevin Garnett. That was what the Warriors had. They had an MVP player in Steph. They had an all-star in Clay, an all-star in Dre, a great player in Iguodala, and they added to a team that was already functioning, an MVP all-time great in his prime. That is completely different than what all these other circumstances are. That's why those rings, to me, it's like you couldn't not win. How do you not win if they just won 73 games, came a play away, and then you add KD? That's different than LeBron. That's a super-duper team. It's different.
Well, let me say a couple of things. Number one, Paul Pierce was called the truth for a reason, because he closed. Number two, Ray Allen, I would remind you that if it wasn't for the exceptionalism of Steph Curry, I would remind you that the all-time three-point king would be Ray Allen. This brother was something special. And by the way, I just recently heard he was in some kind of bike accident or whatever. I hope he's all right. Nothing but the best to that brother. I love Ray Allen. So I want to say that. The other thing that I will say to you is this. Again, Giannis did it the right way. He did it the Jordan way. He did it the Kobe way. He did it the Tim Duncan way. We get all of that. We understand that, okay? And I'm not taking anything away from him. But I would like to point out that this season, above many, many others, has proven just because you assemble something doesn't mean that it necessarily works out. Look at what happened to the Brooklyn Nets. So the point that I'm trying to make to you is that we can point to injury, Max, but when other things come into the equation, like you coming into camp out of shape, or if you, Kyrie, you thinking you don't really need a coach because you're so exceptional and you didn't think about the fact that other young cats might be called upon to raise up their game because you get hurt, but they weren't prepared because they weren't receiving the necessary coaching that they could have received. There's a lot of different components that go into being